There was a time in my life I could take on so much. I had so much emotional stress. I had so much mental stress. I had physical stress. And I just felt invincible. No big deal. I'll deal with it. And I tried to cope. Some people cope drinking, smoking, eating to deal with it because you're always battling this stress. To explain how important it is, these are some of side effects if you end up with chronic stress. And this is like stress where you're already in medical need pretty much. This is from the wikipedia.org. Chronic stress is defined as a state of prolonged tension from internal or external stressors, which may cause various physical manifestations: asthma, back pain, fatigue, headaches, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcers, and suppressed immune system. Chronic stress can take more significant toll on your body than an acute stress does. It can raise blood pressure, increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, increase vulnerability to anxiety and depression, contribute to infertility, and hasten the aging process. For example, the results of one study demonstrate that individuals who reported relationship conflict lasting 1 month or longer have a greater risk of developing illness and show slower wound healing. The effects that acute stressors have on the immune system may increase where there is perceived stress or and anxiety due to other events. For example, students who are taking exams show weaker immune response if they also report stress due to daily hassles. Now here are some signs of stress. It could be emotional, physical, or behavioral. Cognitive symptoms: memory problems, inability to concentrate, poor judgment, pessimistic approach or thoughts, anxious or racing thoughts, constant worrying. Emotional symptoms: moodiness, irritability, short temper, agitated, inability to relax, feeling overwhelmed, sense of loneliness and isolation, depression, or general unhappiness. Physical stress: aches, pains, diarrhea or constipation, increased frequency of urination, indigestion, changes in blood glucose, nausea, dizziness, chest pains, rapid heartbeat, loss of sex drive, frequent colds, and irregular periods. And behavioral problems: eating more or less, sleeping too much or too little, isolating oneself from others, procrastinating or neglecting responsibilities, using alcohol, cigarettes, or drugs to relax, and nervous habits such as nail biting or pacing. Now, you probably saw yourself in some of the lists that I just read, and it would not be unheard of because, like I said, everybody has some form of stress. So here I read common external causes of stress, major life changes, such as divorce, moving to a different country, change of jobs, loss of jobs, things related to work, relationship difficulties, death of a loved one, abandonment, problems in the family, financial problems, being too busy, having too much stuff going on, and your children and family. And that's the external stress. Now the common and internal stress, inability to accept uncertainty, pessimism, negative self-talk, unreal expectations, perfectionism, and lack of assertiveness. And those are, you think like the lack of assertiveness, like maybe if you keep things to yourself, keep quiet, be passive. A lot of people do that to avoid problems. to avoid stress. But realistically, when you're holding all that stuff in, it's causing more damage to you than good. You know, you may be able to save others from stress, but you're actually the one getting sick from it. So that one's actually one that people should pay attention to. Unreal expectations is just that, you know, someone who is always wanting more, or something that really is not attainable for them at that time, you know, or I don't know how to explain it, but you know, you're always setting yourself up for disappointment, you know, and yeah. All right. So here are some questions you can ask yourself. What is stressful for you? It may be quite different from what is stressful for someone else. Example: Karen is terrified of getting up in front of people to perform or speak, while her best friend lives for the spotlight. Okay. Phil thrives under pressure and performs best when he has a tight deadline, while his coworker Matt shuts down when work demands escalate. Anita enjoys helping her elderly parents. Her sister helps out as well, but finds the demands of caretaking very stressful. Richard doesn't hesitate to send food back or complain about bad service when eating out, while his wife, Miranda, finds it too stressful to complain. Alright, here. The effects of chronic stress. The body doesn't distinguish between physical and psychological threats. When you're stressed over a busy schedule, an argument with a friend, a traffic jam, or a mountain of bills, your body reacts just as strongly as if you were facing a life and death situation. If you have a lot of responsibilities and worries, your emergency stress response may be on most of the time. The more your body's stress system is activated, the harder it is to shut off. Long-term exposure to stress can lead to serious health problems. Chronic stress disrupts nearly every system in your body. It can raise blood pressure, suppress the immune system, increase the risk of heart attack and stroke, contribute to infertility, and speed up the aging process. Long-term stress may rewire the brain, leaving you more vulnerable to anxiety and depression. And many problems that are caused include pain of any kind, heart disease, digestive problems, sleep problems, depression, obesity, autoimmune diseases, skin conditions such as eczema. All right. See, now we know how desert got here. It's so serious. It's so true. And unfortunately, mine is my immune system. You know, those who know me on the show, you know, I have anemia. And part is my immune system. And the one way to beat anemia is to get my immune system up, you know, take my vitamins, and make sure everything's running, but also my digestive system's messed up because of my anemia, because my vitamins are not being, my cells aren't absorbing the vitamins I take in. So it's a constant battle, and it's so frustrating. You know, I try not to, but I kind of do it to myself, because I have like all these ambitions, and I try to do all these things, and there's just not enough time in the day, and it's hard to just stop and relax, because I always feel like I'm running behind, you know. That's where my art comes in, you know. That's part of art, actually helps me a lot. But it has contributed to my anxiety disorder, and oh my gosh, I just got a list of stuff, and every single one has begun with stress. Every single one. But it's too late. I mean, it's not too late to try to fix it, but it's kind of too late, because I lived with the stress so long that finally, as I aged, it just wham, it just hit me. And so now that's why I do Des Rose Radio Show, because I'm an advocate. That's what I'm here for. To preach it to everybody. All right. So let's see. Dealing with stress and its symptoms. I'll read this here, and this is from thehelpguide.org. While unchecked stress is undeniably damaging, there are many things you can do to reduce its impact and cope with the symptoms. Learn how to manage stress. You may feel like the stress in your life is out of control, but you can always control the way you respond. Managing stress is all about taking charge of your thoughts, your emotions, your schedule, your environment, and the way you deal with problems. Stress management involves changing a stressful situation when you can, changing your reaction when you can't, and taking care of yourself, and making time to rest and relax. Now this is where it's good, especially if you're kind of like someone who likes to make plans or make goals. I talk, about this a lot to people, about journaling. And not only just journaling. In the journal, not just like your typical diary type of journal, plan stuff out. If you just get like a wire-bound paper and just try to figure out a schedule for yourself. Make a list. This is how I did it. Actually make a list of everything you have to do, all your responsibilities, all the things you need to take care of, down to cleaning your room, cleaning the bathroom, washing your car, everything. If you have to call your mom, all that stuff, right? Make a huge list, and it's going to be huge. And then you're going to find out, just by looking at your list, why mentally you're so overwhelmed, okay? So you make your list. Now, everything in your list is a have to. I understand that. You still have to do it. But grab out the most important ones first. Like, okay, you have to work. That goes on to the side, okay? Work. You have to do groceries. That's a must. Groceries. Pay bills. And just kind of make the new list and grab out all of the most important things that you have to do, that have to be done. All right? So then you should be seeing it getting a little bit smaller. Now from that list, you put it in groups, a realistic group. And what I mean is as far as like a timetable. Okay, so let's say you get another paper and you have every hour of the day on there. Now take work, of course, fill in all the times that you have work, where you have to work. And if you don't work, you're kind of lucky because you have a little bit more time to try to figure this out. But pull out what you have to do first and kind of adjust it into your time schedule. And then the other stuff that you see that have to be done, kind of spread it through the week. And if it comes down to you actually making a day and a time to clean the kitchen or vacuum, do it. Pick one day of the week for vacuuming, one day of the week to do another house chore. Or if you're lucky and you have like a whole Saturday or Sunday, at least a good 6 hours where you can just clean all day, you could do that too. But be realistic. Be realistic with what you can do. I used to do this when I first, there was one time in my life where I kind of did the same thing, but I was trying to lose a lot of weight. At the time, the first time I went through this whole weight loss thing. And I put on there like 8 o'clock in the morning, start exercising. When realistically, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm just going to bed, okay? I'm not waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning to exercise anywhere. It's like the New Year's resolutions when people do that. Be realistic, okay? So don't put something early in the morning if you're not awake early in the morning. If you're a night owl like me, you're going to have to switch it around and make one of those times your morning. If 3 o'clock in the afternoon is when you wake up, that's your morning. Okay, so move it over and be realistic with the time. And start to adjust it like that, and start off slow. Okay, you have your have-tos, and kind of like throw in one or two things. But also, in that list, make sure you put time for yourself. At least every day something. Every day. And it could be in the time you're taking your shower. You know, that could be your alone time. Or take a bath. Lay there and take care of yourself. Take care of your body. I don't know, pluck your eyebrows, do your teeth, do your nails. But pamper yourself in that time period. And you make sure you put that time period aside, you know, just to relax. At least once a day. So you shower once a day, you can relax once a day, okay? Okay, so learning to relax. On the side it says, you can't completely eliminate stress from your life, but you can control how much it affects you. Relaxation techniques such as yoga, meditation, deep breathing, activate the body's relaxation response, a state of restfulness that is opposite of the stress response. When practiced regularly, these activities lead to a reduction in your everyday stress levels and boost in your feelings of joy and serenity. They also increase your ability to stay calm and collected under pressure. Learn quick stress relief. Everybody has the power to reduce the impact of stress as it is happening at that moment. With practice, you can learn to spot stressors, stay in control, and build when the pressure builds. Sensory stress-boosting techniques give you a powerful tool to stay clear-headed and in control in the middle of a stressful situation. They give you the confidence to face challenges, knowing that you have the ability to rapidly bring yourself back in balance. And they have a video posted. I guess you could see it on YouTube. So look up quick stress relief. Now some people think these things are so silly, but they're really not, and they really do work, especially deep breathing. Just sitting still quietly and just breathe. You know, meditate, put on some music, and just close your eyes and relax. And those are the things, they will help. They really, really will. It's just nobody seems to have that time. It's just like I said, taking a bath. Okay, that's your time. Don't fall asleep in the bathtub, but close your eyes, put on some soft music in the bathroom. If you don't have any, you can go on the internet. You can download some relaxation music and yoga music. You know, they have tapes with sounds of birds, oceans, rainfalls, you know, those kind of sounds. And just close your eyes and just relax. On the medical side of things, some drugs may cause or worsen symptoms of stress. These can include some inhaler medications used to treat asthma, thyroid pills, some diet pills, and cold remedies. Caffeine, cocaine, alcohol, and tobacco products may also cause or worsen symptoms of stress or anxiety. When these feelings happen often, a person may have anxiety disorder. Other problems where stress may be present are obsessive compulsive disorder, panic disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Now these are some disorders that I tend to talk about a lot only because of my experience with it and how it's affected me. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder about 10 years ago, and which has kind of been somewhat downgraded to an anxiety disorder. Same thing, you know, it just all came down to stress. You know, I did experience panic attacks and things like that, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you're going through it. So if you're actually one of the people that keep going to the doctor and you're trying to pinpoint exactly what is wrong and you're not getting any answers, chances are it's part of the stress. It's part of it, because your body can't distinguish whether it's mental or physical. Stress is just stress. So if you're stressing mentally over things, your body's thinking, well, you're sick, so it's going to respond accordingly. And it's like a loose hot wire, like in a car or something just causing the whole thing to go out of whack. So, but if you have these other disorders, of course, it's more difficult to deal with. Sometimes you're given medication, but the side effects of the medicine make things worse again and also add to it. All right, here's some home care. Okay, start with eating a well-balanced, healthy diet, as well as getting enough sleep and exercise. Limit coffee, alcohol intake. Don't use nicotine, cocaine, or other street drugs. Find healthy, fun ways to cope with stress. Learn to practice ways to help you. Find out about yoga, tai chi, and meditation. And I was just talking about this a minute ago, about the meditation. But tai chi, that's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but I was working for this one company where they made videos like belly dance, hip hop for fitness, little things, hula for fitness, things like that. And they had the Tai Chi video from the guy that used to play in that movie Kung Fu, and he'd come down and make these Tai Chi videos, and there was this younger man also, he has his videos, and I used to bring them home and actually do them, and they work, and they actually work as a weight loss also. You don't think so because the movements are so slow and easy, but boy, you break out in a sweat, and that, I loved it, because it has the music with it, and once you get it down and you have the music, you get your workout, and this is especially great even if you're wheelchair bound or not really good with physical movements. It's perfect. It's no impact whatsoever. So I suggest trying it. And what's cool is they used to sell these kits with the Tai Chi videos, and it would have a candle. It'd have this lemon kind of scented soap and lotion. And I would get all into it. I used the whole kit. Like, I would go take my shower with the special soap and the lotion. I'd turn on the candle. I'd turn on the video, and I would do it. And it was awesome, So, and that's what you do when you have your time to yourself. Okay, that time in your list that I said, 1 hour. And I know 1 hour seems like a lot of time away from being able to do something else, but that 1 hour doing that just for you at your own time, and you tell your family, okay, I'm going to spend this hour, don't bother me, nobody talk to me, I'll be out when I'm finished. And I would suggest it anyways. All right, take breaks from work. Make sure balance fun activities with your job and family duties. Schedule some leisure time every day. Okay, we talked about that. Try learning to make things with your hands, playing an instrument, or listening to music. And this part, of course, I am an artist, and it has made a difference. It's made a big difference, actually, if I can actually get my time to do it. That's my fault. Okay, that's my fault. Because I put on too much responsibility on myself that I don't have the time to sit there and just focus on my art. But there's something about working with your hands, because when you're working with your hands, even if it's cleaning, okay, if you're not looking at it as a chore, but rather, wow, I'm trying to decorate my place, or I'm going to clean and my room's going to look so nice, or my balcony is going to look nice, my yard is going to look good. And if you switch the way you see it rather than, oh, it's a chore, it's such a chore. I really don't want to go out there. I don't want to mow the lawn. But you go out there and go, I'm going to mow the lawn. I'm going to fix the backyard, then that's the healthy. So that's what it's talking about, switching the way you're thinking and approaching these things and how you think about it. All right. Keeping a diary, we talked about that a little bit. And find someone you trust who will listen to you. Often just talking to a friend or loved one is all you need to feel better. Most areas also have support groups, hotlines that can help. This is where the internet comes in, and it's awesome. If you're listening to this show, you're listening from the internet or a podcast or iTunes. There's so much out there right now. You just look up anything you're interested in as far as friendships, or if you belong to any other organizations for therapy or some other kind of life thing that you're going through or a survivor of, you can find people in any kind of chat room that you can talk to. And it could be a stranger, Sometimes I would get on like Pal Talk and talk to people, and they'll be total strangers, and we'll just be talking about our whole life, but we don't know each other. We don't really know nothing about each other, but we got it out. And like for me, I love it. I depend on it. Okay, I will be honest. I have friends on here for several years. Some friends come and go, but the one thing I look forward to is in the evening time, before I go to sleep, I talk to people. And sometimes we have fun, we have meaningful conversations, and sometimes we're just goofing off. But you're still communicating, you're still talking, and you really aren't lonely. You may be physically alone, but if you live by yourself or something, it's good because you're still have friendships and you're still talking to other people. So that always helps. All right. Let's see. All right. It says ask your healthcare provider if there's any drugs or medicine you are taking that can cause anxiety. That too. Just like we were talking about the thyroid medicine and other medications. And just start, we have your list. Just start going through things, but you're not going to do it overnight. Okay, this is going to take time, but what you can do already is take the major things out of the list that you have to do and deal with that first. And then slowly bring in the others, like with work, housework, or picking up groceries, etc. If you have a hard time doing it, then this is where you have to depend on people, Call around, call your family or friends and say, okay, I'm going to need help. And most likely people will do it, as long as you're not being needy in a way that's like you're just trying to occupy all their time, because they got their own stuff going on. But most of the time, if you tell someone, like, I haven't been feeling well, I am just so overwhelmed and I need help, people are most likely willing to help. So I would try that. Now, reasons to seek a medical professional. If you have any kind of thoughts of suicide, call a suicide hotline. And other reasons to seek a medical professional. If you have feelings of a panic, which would be like dizziness, rapid breathing, racing heartbeat, you are unable to work or function at home or at a job, you have fears that you cannot control, or you have traumatic memories of past events. Also, do not stop taking any prescribed medications without talking to your doctor first. And this is for anybody taking medications for any type of mood disorder, such as like Zoloft, Effexor, things like that. Never stop your medicines cold turkey. That is rule number 1, period. If you're tired of taking them, you still have to gradually get off of them. I've heard other people say stuff like, "Oh, just stop taking them," without knowing what they're suggesting to other people, and that is like very, very bad advice. It's not one of those things that you should be doing. All right. So what to expect when you visit the doctor? Your doctor will want to know what medications you're taking. They'll want to know if you're using alcohol or drugs. You get a physical exam and some blood work done, and they can kind of see where you're at. And you're supposed to tell them exactly what it is. You tell them that you're having stress and why. You pretty much got to like kind of pinpoint what the problem is. But sometimes you have to tell them, like, of your past experiences and stuff, like what you've been going through, especially if you've had a life change or traumatic stuff happen to you. And it's not like they're asking you to be nosy or for you to divulge, all your personal stuff. It kind of helps pinpoint where you're at with your stress level. And a lot of times they have advice or referrals to things that could probably help you. One experience I'll share with you guys about me. My stepfather's an alcoholic, and I lived with him since I was like 9 years old. So he pretty much was my father for most of my teen years, etc. And it was such a dramatic change because we went from a household where my mom was a single parent and we were very poor, but I'll tell you what, we were happy, right? We had no idea how broke we were. We were happy. We had friends. We had people over all the time. Even when my mom was working, me and my brother would be taking care of each other because we were kind of like latchkey kids. We had a blast. We never had problems, like problems. I know my mom was probably stressed, but then she got married, right? And so we ended up with this stepfather who was an alcoholic. Suddenly, our whole lives changed because though she thought she was doing good for us because suddenly we had things, we had a house, we had, all these things, we were miserable because we had an alcoholic father. We can make no noise. If the phone rang, oh my God, everything just bitching and whining about everything, and it was like, it was so traumatic. It really, really was. But it wasn't until in my early adulthood there was a lot of things that bothered me, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. And one day I was talking to somebody, and they have these it's called Al-Anon, adult children of alcoholics or something like that. I went to a couple of those meetings, and it actually was really cool because I kind of dealt with it, even though I didn't think it was bothering me or that it affected me, it did. I had no idea that it did. I was just like, well, I'm out of there. I'm an adult now. But it did. And it did affect the way, I would have probably raised my own children, because I probably would have picked up those habits and thought they were normal. And so, but stuff like that, little things like that. There'll be meetings, but they're all there to help you. So there really is no excuse. There's no excuse not to work on it. If you're really serious, you really care about yourself, you care about your family, and, your kids, you'll do it. Even though, you just bite your lip, suck up your pride, and just get it done. Get it done so that everybody else will be okay too. Because it's not just about you. And I know I sound like I'm scolding, but in a way I am, because I've met so many people with nothing but excuses. woe is me, poor me, oh, I've been through this, oh, poor me, nobody likes me, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Suck it up. Suck it up and take care of what you need to take care of. And I know I don't sound kind about it, but there really is no excuse. There's none. You know, you have access to it right now. Like, you have the internet. If you don't know anybody, there are places to call. There are churches you can call. You know, if you need rides, etc. So try to find a way to work it. You know, that's the advice I can give. But stress, it's able to kill you. Stress will hurt you if you don't get it under control. I'll probably do another podcast on stress a little bit later. We're going to talk more about another section of it, but this is more like the introduction, the reality of it, how serious it is, and, you know, maybe to get you to make your mind up to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to fix this. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you know. And if you're older, you better do it fast. That's all I get, because you don't want to be aging faster than you need to be. So yeah. So if anybody has any questions or comments, you can feel free to email me. Thank you very much for listening to Des Rose Radio Podcast Edition on